You can move 20 years younger than you do right now. Not with surgery, not with pharmaceuticals. With 5 minutes and knowledge most men in their 60s never receive. You wake up and your knees sound like crumpled paper. Your hips take 3 steps to remember what they are for. Getting off the floor is a project. Reaching overhead is a negotiation. By 9 in the morning, you have spent more energy fighting your own body than completing any task. This is not aging. This is a fixable biological error that compounds quietly while the medical system calls it normal. It is not normal, and it is not permanent. What follows is the 5 gates sequence, a rotational micro-movement protocol derived from ancient Taoist joint coding tradition. 5 gates, 5 minutes. Most men feel measurable change within 72 hours. The diagnosis you were given is likely wrong. Not maliciously, systematically. Stiff knees are blamed on cartilage, stiff hips on arthritis, slow mornings on age. All of these explanations point to structures that are largely irreversible. That framing benefits no one except those selling replacements. The actual mechanism is different, and it is highly reversible. Your joints are encased in fascia, a crystalline web of connective tissue that behaves like a living sponge. When hydrated, this tissue is fluid, elastic, capable of absorbing force across every plane of motion. When dehydrated, it crystallizes, it stiffens. It compresses the joint from the outside in, long before any cartilage degrades. Researchers at Tsukuba University documented that fascia loses approximately 1% of its hydration per year after age 25. By 60, the fascial network has shed 35% of its fluid capacity. That is not aging. That is a slow drought inside your body. Harvard Medical School researchers have identified joint fluidity as one of the most reliable predictors of biological aging, more so than chronological age alone. Traditional stretching creates tension across the fascial plane. Strength training adds load. Neither creates the rotational pressure required to rehydrate fascial tissue at the cellular level. Motion restores youth. Stillness accelerates decay. Rotation restores what stillness steals. Taoist physician monks in dynastic China did not have MRI machines. They had centuries of direct observation of the human body's response to specific movements, performed daily over long lifetimes. They mapped 5 primary energy gates in the body, not metaphorical gates, physical junctures where fluid exchange concentrates, where stagnation first takes hold, where rehydration first becomes possible. Ankles, knees, hips, spine, shoulders. They designed rotational sequences for each gate, not to build muscle, not to create flexibility in the Western sense, but to maintain the hydraulic integrity of the fascial system well into old age. Yogic lineages across the Himalayas arrived independently at the same architecture. This is not a workout. It is a biological maintenance ritual older than recorded medicine, and validated by peer-reviewed science within the last decade. 5 minutes, no guilt, no failure threshold. That is the permission. Now the science. In 2022, researchers confirmed what the monks had applied empirically for centuries. Fascial tissue responds to rotational micro-movement in a specific, measurable way, behaving precisely like a living sponge. The mechanism is piezoelectric. Each rotation generates a low-grade electrical pressure wave through the crystalline fascial lattice, triggering fibroblast cells to release stored water back into the collagen matrix. The joint does not simply feel looser, it is biochemically younger. A Stanford University study found that 5 minutes of daily rotational micro-movement improved measurable joint fluidity by up to 30% within 2 weeks. Not months of training, 14 days. As one orthopedic physician documented, "Motion is the lotion." That aphorism contains more physiological accuracy than most textbooks on joint degeneration. The ancient monks knew, modern sports medicine confirmed. The mechanism was always the same. Begin standing. Feet shoulder-width apart. Jaw unclenched. This is not effort. This is maintenance. The slowness is the medicine. Gate 1. Ankle spirals. The foundation gate. Shift weight to one foot. Lift the opposite heel and trace a slow figure 8 with the raised ankle, passing through every degree of rotation available. 10 spirals, reverse direction, switch feet. 45 seconds per side. The ankle is the root of the kinetic tree. When locked by fascial dehydration, every joint above compensates. The knee torques, the hip rotates inward, the lumbar spine flattens. One dehydrated ankle creates a stiffness cascade that reaches the neck. Taoist texts called it the root of the tree of life. That is not metaphor. It is anatomy. Gate 2. Knee circles. The shock absorber gate. Feet together, knees slightly bent, hands lightly on kneecaps. Slow circular rotations, both knees together, wide and deliberate. 10 clockwise, 10 counterclockwise, 50 seconds. Most knee pain originates not in cartilage, but in the fascial sleeve encasing the joint. Tsukuba University identified knee fascia as the most dehydration-prone tissue in the lower body. A daily circle begins restoring hydraulic pressure to that sleeve within days. Gate 3. Hip circles, the power gate. Feet shoulder-width apart, hands on hips. Draw the widest possible circles with the pelvis, 8 rotations each direction. Full amplitude, 60 seconds. The hips contain the largest fascial reservoir in the human body. Stanford researchers found hip fascial rehydration was the single greatest predictor of whole body mobility improvement. Open this gate, and the effect travels in every direction. Do not rush it. Gate 4. Spinal wave. The command gate. Stand freely or lightly against a wall. Begin at the crown, tuck chin, round forward vertebra by vertebra through cervical, thoracic, lumbar, tailbone, as if each disc drops along a string. Reverse from the tailbone upward. 6 full waves, 60 seconds. A dehydrated disc is a compressed disc. A rehydrated disc is a young disc. Each wave pumps fluid through intervertebral fascia, reinflating what stillness compressed over decades. This is hydromic maintenance of the spinal column. Gate 5. Shoulder circles, the energy gate. Arms at the sides. 10 slow rolls backward, maximum range, minimum speed. Then 10 forward. Let the shoulder blades glide fully apart and together on each pass. 50 seconds. The shoulder girdle is the final destination of the energy moving upward through the 5 gates. Ancient monks called this releasing the burden of time. Fascial adhesion here restricts breathing, compresses the cervical fascia, and creates the forward head posture that signals to every room that the body is older than the mind inside it. 10 circles backward. That burden lifts. 5 gates. 5 minutes. No equipment. No noise. Anywhere. The optimal window is upon waking, before the fascial network recrystallizes from the night's stillness. First results are felt, not imagined, felt, within 72 hours. You wake up and simply stand. No warm-up, no limping through the first minutes. Joints already fluid from the day before. You walk into a room and your posture has shifted, not through effort, but through a body reorganized around a hydrated, decompressed spine. Energy arrives before 8 in the morning, before caffeine, before any external prompt. People notice. You notice them noticing. Many who practice the 5 gates sequence daily report moving 10 to 20 years younger within 30 days. in the way they rise from chairs, climb stairs, and carry themselves through a room. Type day 1 in the comments below. Research shows that people who publicly commit to a 30-day challenge are 60% more likely to complete it. Your comment is not just a comment, it is a biological contract with yourself. In the next transmission, I will reveal the single breathing pattern that amplifies this ritual's effect by a factor of 3, and why Himalayan monks considered it the master key to physical immortality. The gates are open. Begin.